First question is the other Western countries are responding to the global recession but cutting immigration numbers. Is Canada planning to do so?
No, we're not. In fact, I think we're the only major developed country in the world which is maintaining rather than cutting immigration levels. This is a decision we took last year, and we are planning to receive between 240 and 265,000 permanent residents to Canada. Last year, we received 250,000 permanent residents, but overall, we received over 500,000 people if we include students and temporary foreign workers, many of whom can now become permanent residents because of our government's new Canadian Experience class. So politically, the easy thing to do during a recession would be to cut immigration levels, but our government believes that we need to prepare for the demographic changes in the future as our population gets older and the jobs of the future. When we get to the recovery phase of this recession, we need to make sure that people are there to fill the jobs required. Also, there are actually job shortages in certain industries and certain regions. So we feel very badly for those who are in transition or who have lost their jobs in this economy, and that will probably continue for a few months. But I can tell you I've met many employers in parts of the country who can't find Canadians willing to actually apply for the jobs in their industries.
Well, I remember that you did an interview with Maclean's magazine, and you said that the unemployment rate for the newcomers is like with the university degree
Yes.
is 4 times higher than the native-born Canadians.
I think overall the unemployment rate for newcomers is twice as high as for native-born Canadians. Amongst newcomers with university degrees, you're quite right, it's about 4 times higher than
What
that.
is the main reason for that?
Well, I think for the university degree holders, it's largely a problem of credential recognition, and our government is taking, ours is the first federal government ever to take action on the issue of recognizing foreign diplomas and credentials. Although that is mainly done by the provinces who oversee the licensing agencies, the professional organizations like the engineering and medical associations. But we have created the Foreign Credential Referral Office, which is providing people before they land in Canada even with information on how to get their credentials recognized quickly. And the Prime Minister got all 10 provincial premiers to agree to a pan-Canadian framework for foreign credential recognition. And we're putting $50 million into that in our economic action plan. Basically what that means is we're working very hard to persuade the provinces to have simpler, clearer, and faster pathways to foreign credential recognition. Part of the, according to some of the research, one of the main reasons why there's underemployment amongst new Canadians relates to language ability. One of the number one reason that Canadian employers indicate that they're not hiring new Canadians is often they're concerned about language. And so that's also a reason why our government is spending 4 times more than the previous Liberal government on free language classes for newcomers to help them improve their English or French skills so they can have a better chance at getting a good Canadian job.
Yeah, but for us, only 1 in 4 people really go attend those language classes, and how to solve that?
That's very frustrating for us because we were putting a lot more money into the free language classes, and we're trying to find ways to make more people, to persuade more people to take those classes because we think it's to help them get ahead more quickly in Canada. Now, I think some people, obviously, they arrive, they are so busy, they end up working 2 or 3 survival jobs. Those people don't have time for language classes. Some young mothers at home taking care of children or their parents, very hard for them to leave the home for language classes. So we're looking for more flexible ways to provide these language training services. One idea that we might try in the near future is a pilot program that will give a kind of voucher to newcomers that they can then go and redeem for free language classes at different schools, at different program centers. And that will create, we hope, a positive competition where people will compete, where centers will compete for longer hours, better locations, and better service. But I think part of the responsibility falls with newcomers as well. They really should make a priority, and I know many people do, but I'm just encouraging them to really make a priority of the language training. I know it might not seem like an urgent thing, but it's really important to people's long-term economic success in Canada.
And what has your government done to help those new Canadians and ethnic community?
Well, as I said, we've nearly increased by fourfold by $1.4 billion settlement services, including free language classes, but also other settlement and integration programs. One very exciting thing that we've done is to launch a pilot program overseas that we're going to be expanding, which provides pre-arrival advice on integrating in Canada. We for all of the federal skilled workers who are selected to come to Canada in China, India, and the Philippines, they're now getting a letter inviting them to have a customized 2-day free seminar on getting settled in Canada, which is being offered in offices that we've established in Guangzhou, New Delhi, and Manila, with some pilot projects around those 3 countries as well. And I've met some of the graduates of this program. They got their letter saying, congratulations, you've been selected for permanent residency in Canada. We need to clear your medical and security checks. In the meantime, please, if you'd like, use this program. And they've gone, and because of that program, they've been able to secure a job in Canada. They know where they're going to live. They know how to get their kids in school. They've already started the process of applying for their credentials to be recognized. So we want to give people a head start so that they can begin preparing for their life in Canada before they even arrive here, so they don't just arrive off the plane and feel mystified about where they start.
Yeah, and another question is on April 29th, you ordered an overhaul of the 12-year-old citizenship test. What made you decide it's the time to change?
Well, that's it's become, 12 years is a long time without any updates of our citizenship test. There's been a lot of research in the last few years that Canadians, both new and old Canadians, don't know their history or their democratic institutions well enough. I think it's very important in such a diverse society with the highest relative level of immigration in the world to make sure that we focus not just on our differences, but also on those things that unite us, and that we use the history, the values, and the symbols and democratic institutions of Canada as the kind of glue that binds together our multicultural, diverse society. We don't want all ending up living in separate communities where we don't know our past or we don't know each other. We want a united Canada that at the same time celebrates our different backgrounds. And so I'm hoping that through this test, through the new citizenship materials, we can provide better information to new Canadians about our parliamentary democratic institutions, about the responsibilities of citizenship, about our history. I'll just give you one example. Every November, early November, Canadians start wearing those little red flowers, poppies. Now, I suspect some new Canadians, when they first come here, kind of wonder, what is this tradition all about? Well, if you read the citizenship test and a book that supports it, A Look at Canada, it doesn't even mention what the poppy is, but for most Canadians, this is one of the most important symbols, perhaps second only to our flag as an important symbol. In this case, remembering the 110,000 Canadians who died defending democracy in the last century. So we think it's very important to ensure that new Canadians and all Canadians have a better understanding of our symbols and our democracy.
Will your government raise the tax?
No. One thing we won't do is raise taxes. Our government has we cut the GST from 7% to 5%. We cut business taxes for small businesses, for large employers. We cut income taxes. We have cut taxes for seniors. We've cut taxes for families with children. That's been our focus, is letting people keep more of what they earn. And I believe that new Canadians who arrive here don't want to see half of their paycheck going to government. They come here because they're willing to work hard to get ahead, they're willing to take risks, and they would like to keep more of what they earn, what they work for. That's our conservative philosophy, which is why we believe in reducing the tax burden. And we did so in our most recent economic update, our budget, our economic action plan, further reduce taxes. In fact, the Conservative government has reduced taxes by about $200 billion over 5 years, saving the average family more than $4,000 a year in federal taxes. That's a big difference in their standard of living. So we believe that's one of the reasons why Canada is the last major developed economy in the world to go into this global recession. We also believe it's one of the reasons that the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank both predict that Canada will be the first major economy to come out of the recession more strongly than other countries. Now, this is an active debate. I was just in the Liberal Party Policy Convention in Vancouver, where they passed a resolution to raise taxes. Mr. Ignatieff, the Liberal leader of the opposition, has said we will have to raise taxes. That's a legitimate point of view, but it's not the one that we share.
Okay, another question is, you have been named as one of Canada's 100 Leaders of the Future by Maclean's magazine, and one of Canada's leading conservative activities by the Globe and Mail, and one of 21 Canadians of the 21st century, to watch the 21st century by Financial Post magazine. So how do you react to those praises, and where do you think your future is going to be?
I don't know. Well, only God knows where my future is, but I guess the people who wrote those things don't know me well enough. All I can say is I work very hard. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I got into politics because I believe in human dignity and human rights, we're all great. We're all so blessed to live in this incredible country. So I'm somebody who really believes in working hard. I think, like most new Canadians, they're the hardest working Canadians, I think, on the whole, who come here with a dream and are willing to overcome often some real obstacles, typically because they want to build a better future for their children. And I think that's something that should motivate all of us.